This project, ooh, it's about like 13 pages, and I did this on a whim because I was drawing and sketching, and then I drew like this zombie, but I was like, I put a bun on it and flipped his hair on the side, and I was like, hold on, wait a minute, something ain't right here. This guy looked familiar. And then I was like, yo, he looks like Gato from freaking Jujutsu Kaisen. I wasn't planning that at all. So then I got the idea of that this could work because there's this one anime in particular that's been haunting me forever, and I end up watching both seasons, which is High School of the Dead. So, even if you haven't heard of High School of the Dead, you probably heard what I call as the slap that's been heard around the world.
Jesus, what's going on? I can never understand what's...
But for those who don't know what High School of the Dead is basically the world is coming to an end via the outbreak of a virus that's turning people into zombies. These are dealing with high schoolers, coming face to the fact that it's being overrun by zombies. Also, disclaimer, this is freaking ecchi as frick. So you're gonna get a whole bunch of shots that's just in your face all the time. You're like, what the freak? But if you can tolerate those shots and stuff, I watched both seasons, and I was sad that they wasn't making a third one because of how the second season ended. But again, I think it's just my trauma talking because there was just so much stuff going on in that anime. But I was like, okay, so Zombie Gato, alright. And one of my favorite scenes from High School of the Dead is when Takashi has to take out his friend in episode 1 and how he does it. So I was just like, okay, I've been trying to draw the scene, for a long time. You're like in my style or whatever when I was younger, and I could never get it. But now that it's been 14 years since then, I was like, I'm gonna try it again and stuff. So that's how I got to this whole thing. So that whole entire scene is just like he has to kill his best friend and stuff. Ray's there, so it's like high tensions off the very first episode, and I was like, hell yeah, I am locked the freak in. I'm gonna watch this stuff. The connections to Takashi, Ray, and the other cat, I forget his name. God bless his soul, literally. But their relationships to each other felt very similar to Gato, and Shoko's relationship when they were in high school. Gato was very depressed and stuff, and he turned to a different pathway of being a sorcerer. Like, he quit doing sorcery in general. Gojo ended up having to kill him. He didn't want to, when he did the parade of 1,000 demons and stuff in the Zero movie. Gojo ended up killing him with and Takashi ended up having to kill his best friend. So I was like, those parallels match, bruh. So I was like, okay, we should go for Gojo as Takashi, Shoko as Rei, and Gato as Hisashi. So, Gato and Hisashi, were killed by their ultimate best friends, being Gojo and Takashi. Shoko is like I wouldn't want to say the Sakura of the group, but it's like 2 guys and 1 girl, and Rei is kind of like the girl. So, I don't know if Shoko has like any romantic feelings towards Gojo or anything. They're just really good friends. But in that, I try to keep everything that is the same with Jujutsu Kaisen, like the relationship
between everything. You know, Gojo wanted to protect his friends, being Shoko, and even though he didn't want to, you know, have to kill Gato when he was trying to get Yuta to join him on his side to steal Rika. So he really had his hands tied and he had to do it. He really didn't want to do it, but he had to. So I wanted to have that same conflict that he has in his original universe, being like, dog, I know you can't believe it, I can't believe it kind of moment, because that I can't believe it moment happened when he used his purple hollow on Gato for the betterment of Jujutsu Society. So I just wanted to keep everything that was JJK in this and be faithful to all the knowledge that I know about JJK and like the characters is what's it called? Relationships with each other. So that's what I wanted to do. Line art is fun and all, it just takes a long time, so that's the only thing that like drove me up on the wall, was like how long the line art was, the line art process. The screen tones, so I use Krita for the screen tones, so yeah, the screen tones, I'm trying to get better at it. I probably would have to study value, just to get like, you know, to get the contrast to be right so you can see everything and all, but that's all that screen tone is dealing with, is just the value of the material, the subjects, the lighting, the whatever. It's just this value and tones. So I just have to get with that. But like I said and mentioned before, this project was on a whim. I have like a lot of comic projects to do. I just submitted my Yonkoma from Learn to Draw Manga, the kind of contest that's going on. So I had that. I'm working on a personal comic that I have to finish. I don't know how long it's gonna be because I didn't write a script, because if I write a script then I'll see how much work I have to do. So I kind of have like bullet points and I'm like, oh, how do you get from point A to B, so it leaves some creativity and some stuff, so it's super flexible. But I would recommend getting like a starting point, or at least bullet points for like how you want to go about with the story, your manga. At least have something. Just don't create it page by page, because then you're gonna forget a detail or have to implement that detail later, which sucks. No, don't record that. So as long as you know what things you want, put it on the bullet list so that you'll remember them later. And as long as you're having fun, you should be fine. But making a manga, is the hardest part, is just starting, like getting to the point where you have confidence in your art. I suck at perspective, and you've seen how like the perspective stuff that I did, it looks very wonky, very stupid, not very demure. So, but I at least tried it though. I at least tried it, and you know, when you try stuff that you suck at, and trust and believe, when you're making a manga, you're gonna find out a lot of things you suck at, whether it be hands, feet, poses, camera angles, screen tones, all of that stuff. You're gonna find all that stuff, but you won't know until you start making manga. Even if it is like a good example is like me making a yonkoma. Like, I never made one of those before because I'm used to making really long stories. Like, this one is like really short comparison to what I usually do, which is about 100 pages. So I'm trying to make shorter stories that are like impactful, instead of like it could be like a series or something. Like, I'm trying to get it down to maybe a one shot where it's just like 20 pages to 60 pages instead of like 100 and stuff. I'm trying to do short stuff. But as long as you start with something very simple, like a yonkoma. A yonkoma is like 4 panels that you have to tell a whole story in 4 panels. So you have the beginning, you have the extra point that describes what the beginning was. You have the rising action, and then you have your beginning, your rising action, your climax, and your ending, your conclusion. So you got to tell all that in 4 panels, which seems very hard because everybody wants to do long stories. I'm not trying to make the next One Piece. Good lord, I am not as great as Oda when it comes to storytelling. I don't want to make another One Piece. I don't want to make a One Piece. If I can make a story that's in 1 volume, I like short stories. I really do. If it can tell it in 1 volume or 2, I'm good. That's what I'm going for. 1 or 2 volumes. That's it. But start off with something small so you can build up to something that is very long. You gain a lot of mileage by doing all the small projects. You gain confidence, you try out different stuff, and then you can start doing your long series. But start off doing the short things first to build up mileage to doing the long projects, like the 5 volumes you have for a story, or the 2 volumes. Just do like 10 pages, or even 5 pages, or 4. Do short ones so you can tell clear, concise stories in an effective manner that tells everything within such a small time. And then if you do a lot of short stories, you could just publish your own anthology of short stories. So it's best to start off really short, build up mileage, and then get to the longer ones. You can start doing longer ones, but I found out that you burn yourself out longer and faster by doing longer ones versus never making a manga, but you're already making like 100 pages. Don't do that. You'll burn yourself out and you're like, I hate this. But if you do shorter ones, because I have a short attention span, but if you do shorter ones, you'll be like, that wasn't as bad. Okay, 4 pages wasn't that bad. Okay, let me try 10. 10 wasn't bad. Okay, can I do 25? Ooh, this is starting to burn a little bit, but I'm used to it. You want to, it's kind of like when you go to the gym for the first time and you start working out, and my dad always says, building muscle is first you have to tear it down, so when it heals, it build back up stronger, and that's how you build up muscle. So, tear yourself down with the smaller stuff so that you can gain muscle and confidence to do longer and harder workouts that require much more strength, ability, and endurance to get them big gains. That is what you want to do. That is what you want to do. And then once you finish all the pages and it comes down to doing a manga covers can be as simplistic or as crazy as you want to do. You just have to have an idea in mind. Usually it talks about, you usually have your title, and then maybe the manga is focusing on a character or 2. Maybe you pop them up, put them into the manga cover in like a catchy pose or whatever. So designing is like another key thing when you're trying to become a mangaka. You're designing the layouts. You're basically the cameraman, the artist, the writer, the screenwriter. You're all those things. You're putting all those hats on. So a designer is one of those for your covers. Or if you can't design, or if you can't draw, you can team up with other people to make your dream a reality. Either way, whatever floats your boat. But I decided to go the long way. I decided to go through the trenches. I'm learning how to write, I'm learning how to draw, I'm learning how to do all these things and design and stuff. I have like a degree in like art, so that helps somewhat, but like it's just studying and putting into practice what you want to do and actually doing the dang thing instead of just talking about it. You gotta be about that action. So but the cover was really fun. I freaking loved how Gojo turned out. His high school his high school version of himself. And like the action pose, I was trying to replicate the style of Jujutsu Kaisen as best as I could. When it came to the manga covers, you know, with that weird texture in the background, the character popping out, sometimes with the lighting in the cover is affecting the character. I just wanted to get that energy. So I think I did. I freaking ate, dog. I was feasting on that one. Like, Gojo. If Gojo don't look hot, you didn't do him justice. So I think I did him justice. But this project was fun, and I just wanted to do like a quick voiceover of all the things that I have learned from doing this comic. If you've been watching any of my videos, I just do speed paints and put music in the background, but for a change of pace, I wanted to talk over. So I hope that it was helpful, what I said, and like you enjoyed the video. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.